Welcome to the Cover Your Assets podcast, a show for the physician who understands the importance of protecting everything you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to find the peace of mind that only financial security can bring, let's get started. Here's your host, Billy Gwaltney.
Hello, welcome to today's episode of the Cover Your Assets podcast. I'm your host, Billy Gwaltney, and I'm glad to be with you as I always am. Today's topic is answering the question of should I consider a group disability policy through my association? In working with physicians across the country, helping them secure their private specialty coverage, many clients are members of an association through their specialty that will offer a disability policy at a significant discount. And so the question becomes, hey, how does this compare with my private specialty coverage or what I'm considering to buy with private specialty coverage? That's a very good question, valid question, and I want to cover that here today. The first key element is that there are significant gaps in every association policy that I've seen, that I've looked at. And they're basically the same gaps. So I'm going to go over these handful of gaps. And it is important that you understand this because it's buyer beware, right? I mean, disability coverage is something that you can think you've taken care of. You check that box, you're going down the road and you need to use it at some point, unfortunately, and then you find out the definitions aren't what the brochure said they were. The contract reads differently, and ultimately the contract language is all that matters. So the first key element with private specialty coverage that I broker with one of the top 4 carriers, it includes what's called a true specialty own occupation definition of disability. And that means 2 things. One, it means that if an illness or injury prevents you from performing the material duties of your specialty or subspecialty, then you're totally disabled and for policy purposes, and you get your full benefit. The second key element is that there's then no penalty for income you later earn doing something different. So if you can't do surgery, you're disabled, you can then do clinic, get an unlimited benefit, and make an unlimited income doing clinic, and you collect both. If you're interventional cardiology, you can't do interventional, you get your full benefit, then you can do general cardiology and make an unlimited income, and again, no penalty to your benefit. If you practice pediatrics in a clinic setting and you see 30 patients a day and you hurt your back and you can't get out of bed, but you can do virtual medicine, are you now disabled, right? The answer with the private specialty coverage that I broker, the answer would be yes. If it was material for you to physically be somewhere and do your specialty and you can no longer do that, then you get your full benefit. You can then choose to stay at home and do telemedicine or virtual medicine and make an unlimited income, and there's no penalty to your benefit. Association policies do not have that discount, okay? They may use specialty language, specialty specific. They may use similar jargon that makes it seem like it's very similar, but how they define that is very different. If you can do virtual medicine and you were doing clinic medicine, there's a good chance they're not going to pay. They're going to fight you on that. If you ever earn a nickel while you are getting benefits from any other source, they're going to fight you on that and reduce or eliminate your benefits. So it's not the true specialty definition. The second key difference is that the discounts and the rates that my clients get when they start working with me, whether they're in training or as an attending, they stay for life. They're fixed. The rates never go up. The discounts are never taken away. They're never changed. Association policies can be changed. The rate usually goes up over time. It can increase further than even what the schedule says. The discounts are not guaranteed, and all bets are off. The reason is because of the third key element, and that is the private specialty coverage that I broker is individual coverage. It's an individual policy that you own. You call the shots. And what I mean by that is when that first premium is paid, the policy is required to, the insurance carrier is required to perform and cannot cancel the policy. You can cancel at any time, but they cannot. They cannot change the definitions and they cannot increase the rate. Now, obviously, if you increase coverage, the rate goes up. But if you stayed at the same coverage level, the rate stays fixed to age 65. An association policy does not do that. Okay, the policy is technically not an individual policy. It's a group certificate. The association controls the policy, the insurance carrier controls the policy, and it can be canceled at any time. The definitions can be changed, the terms can be changed, the rate can be changed. So you have no control over that. That's a big, big deal, okay? So the private specialty coverage I broker is individual policy. The association policy is technically a group certificate or group policy. The next key element is that the coverage I broker provides what's called a partial or residual benefit that pays if you're partially disabled, and you do not have to be totally disabled before the partial benefit will kick in. Many, if not most, association policies I've read, they will contain a partial benefit, but you're required to be totally disabled first. And that's an out clause. It's very possible for someone to be residually or partially disabled without ever having been totally disabled first, okay? And so if a policy says that, you want to run from it. You don't want it. And it's not going to say it in the brochure or the slick that you get from the association. It's going to be in the policy. You got to read the details of that. The last key element is the recovery benefit. The coverage that I broker with the top carriers includes what's called a long-term recovery benefit that pays if you medically recover from a disability and go back to work, but when you go back to work, your income doesn't bounce back. It doesn't recover. That happens a lot. We've got clients that have collected for 15 years from a recovery benefit because they just never returned to the same level of productivity, and their income's never going to be what it used to be before they were disabled. That's very possible, and if not likely. An association policy, I've never seen an association policy that has a long-term recovery benefit. Never. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but I've never seen it. And that in and of itself is a deal killer for a well-designed disability policy. So it's buyer beware. The devil is in the details, as I say over and over and over again. Associations mean well. They're trying to offer a benefit to you to help you, and it's cheaper usually. The reason is because it's just much less valuable. And it's not going to stay cheap. It's going to get more expensive over time, and they can pull that from you at any time. So imagine having a policy for 15 years and getting a notification that says, hey, in 30 days, you're no longer going to have your policy. What are you going to do? If you go with one of the true specialty carriers that I broker, you're never going to get that letter. You pay the premium, they can never do that. It's in the contract. So I'd be happy to discuss your situation. If you have a group policy and you want to send it to me, I'd be happy to go over it with you and show you where it is in writing. Please message me, 704-270-2376. Again, 704-270-2376. It's Billy Gwaltney. As always, grateful to have you here. Thankful for your time. Hope to speak with you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Cover Your Assets podcast, an Odd Conduit media production. New episodes drop every 2 weeks. If you've enjoyed the conversation, subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. For more tips and advice, visit the website and YouTube channel. Check the show notes for links. Join us next time for another episode dedicated to helping physicians like you get your disability insurance right and protect your way of life.